Since 1945, Weatherby's been building the finest firearms and ammunition in the world. And today, we're proud to continue that legacy from our facility in Sheridan, Wyoming. This is On Our Mark, the Weatherby Podcast.
Welcome back to On Our Mark, the Weatherby Podcast. On many of our podcasts, we like to talk about new stuff. This is not different.
We are back. It feels like we've been busy the last couple of weeks and haven't put out any podcasts, but I think it's because we've been working on a lot of cool stuff. So,
yeah, you know, these are unscripted, so this gets dangerous. Afternoon recording session. This is coffee, I promise. We have been busy, but it feels like we've been busy for 6 years.
Yeah. Well, the joke is right now, and like the marketing product development team is, you know, we'll just, as soon as we get to this point, then things will slow down. But then it's like, no, we got a lot of things we're working on.
It's kind of
so
like
it's just like the next to the next.
Like we'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Which means you can't really fix it in post.
No, you just got to keep moving forward.
We've got a guest, JD. Hi. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Mr. Peak 44.
Nobody can pronounce my last name anyway, so Peak 44 is probably easier.
Yeah, you can say your last name if you want.
Ponciano.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have several alter egos here, though.
Yeah.
Ponachinos.
Yeah, you do have a lot of nicknames.
I actually convinced Amy yesterday that it was Ponachinos.
But good for you. Amy's HR, so you need to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Jared helped me out. It was great.
JD's the guy who gets called into HR to tell him how funny your jokes are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why I can't tell them anymore.
Well, we're not here to talk about that JD's lack of humor here. Or abundance of humor.
I don't have a lack of humor. I have a lack of office etiquette. That's what I would say is more accurate.
Which makes it fun. We're here to talk about this new Mark V.
Yeah.
Tyler, you get the honors here.
So, yeah, this is a new Mark V that's building off our Backcountry 2.0 series. So, this is the Backcountry Guide. Man, really excited to launch this one. It's got a lot of cool features. And when we thought we were making lightweight rifles, we just decided to make them lighter.
We did. Yeah. The lightweight thing's, it's real. And this one, kind of like the 307 Alpine CT, has some similar themes, but in the Mark V Backcountry series. So it's kind of like the cream of the crop. It's the lightest of the light and has all the things.
Yeah. So I guess like kind of just like from the Backcountry 2.0 series, it has the Peak 44 Blacktooth stock. But some of the major changes has BSF carbon barrel, but shorter than we traditionally offered in a Mark V.
Why do people like short barrels?
I can tell you why I like short barrel. I can't tell you why everybody likes short barrel. I got to hunt with this rifle in Alaska on a bear hunt not all that long ago. And with the suppressor on, which was nice. I'm a big fan of hunting suppressed. Going through some dense woods after I shot a bear, and I'm basically kind of feeling a little operator, walking in, tactical position, like finger off the trigger, but I'm chambered and the safety's on. Like you don't know what's around the next little bush or whatever. And it was nice having a shorter barrel. When you're in dense woods, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I like it for that. And then also just so that particular rifle, you had it chambered in 300 Weatherby.
Yeah,
so
24-inch barrel.
24-inch barrel, so shorter barrel. The rifle weighed under 6 pounds.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible. But the cool thing is with that shorter barrel, it's still pushing 195 grain bullet over 3,000 feet per second.
Yeah.
So it's still
you're not
cooking.
giving up a whole lot.
Yeah, we like to have the long barrels for velocity, but like the calibers we ended up cutting down, it's a good combination of shortness but still having ballistic superiority. So.
Yeah, and the BSF barrel, we've talked about it a fair amount in the past couple of years, but that barrel's just phenomenal. I remember getting ready to go on that hunt, and that gun shot really well. Yeah, it shot better than I can shoot, and it shot real good.
And then the other major difference is what we did to the stock. So JD, maybe from the Peak 44 side, tell us what we ended up integrating to the stock.
So we added the Spartan gunsmith adapters. For those that aren't familiar with Spartan, most of you I think would be, but Spartan has a variety of adapters that you can connect their bipods and tripods to. But we've been getting a ton of requests for a stock that has the gunsmith adapters, which are flush to the stock. So they have their classic gunsmith adapter which protrudes, which is really popular. But these are
That's like what every one of their bipods comes with, right?
Yep.
It just you replace this the front swivel stud and swap out with their adapter, but it protrudes 3/4 of an inch from your stock.
Yep. So this one, it's integral, and we have 2 spots for it. So you have one up further towards the fore end, and then one more towards the middle, and that's just meant so for if you're using a bipod, you're typically going to load that up in the front. If you're using a tripod, you're going to want to be more towards the center for balance, or if you're doing those steep uphill or downhill shots. Adam's been using setups similar to this, but it's kind of one of those where he's modified things and it wasn't an option. And finally, it was like, let's make something where he can just use the system that he likes and wants to use it. And so this is kind of what was born.
Yeah, Rob Gearing from Spartan has kind of become a friend over the last years, and he's been wanting somebody to do this stateside. And yeah, we're happy that it's done now. And they look good. If you don't, for whatever reason, you don't want to use the Spartan system, really doesn't affect anything. I think it is a great mount, and he's got some really cool adapters that go with that mount to be able to use your existing setup too. Like, what do you got in your hand there?
I'm fidgeting right now, and I have a Spartan
fidget spinner.
Yeah, so
Tyler's doing actually really good so far.
I'm doing good. I am spinning this in my hand. But for you guys on the YouTube, it is a Spartan adapter that goes to Arca, so you can run the magnet system that it has on your normal tripod, so you don't have to buy a proprietary tripod for it. So.
Yeah.
Which this is what we used in Alaska.
Yeah,
is
so
one of these.
You just did something that if the first time you're kind of like, what is going on? This is supposed to be a cup and it's flush. So the Spartan gunsmith adapters come with a plug, and all the Spartan devices, whether it's the bipod, this Arca adapter, or tripod, they have a magnet in the head. So you literally use the device and put it up to that gunsmith adapter, and it'll suck out the plug, and you just pull the plug off the magnet, and then you're ready to go. But then it just keeps it flush and clean and nice, and it's a great system. He thought of a lot of things. I don't know that he thought of everything, but I'm not sure what he hasn't thought of. I don't want to leave it closed.
That's one of the things I appreciate about Rob. Like the other adapter that's sitting there, that is so that if you already have the Spartan adapter on there and you want to adapt to something that already has, if you have a pick rail on yours, I think some of the guys on the Alaska hunt,
Yep, they did.
They used, because they already had this Arca pick rail on the rifle, you can still use that system. So he doesn't just say, hey, this is ours and you have to use it this way. If people request something, he's innovative enough that he just figures out how to make it work.
Yeah, it is a great system. I love how on the bipod, if you put it in, let's just call it forward, you get 0 degrees of rotation, and then you put it in backwards, or 180 degrees flipped around, you get, I don't know the exact degrees, 20 degrees of rotation before you kind of hit a lock. It's just little things like that make it really, really clever.
I think that's another good example of Rob being a user. He's used it enough in the field that he's tweaked the design enough to say, like, well, I wish it did this, and then he just makes it.
Mm-hmm.
And even from our standpoint, though, of like adding this kind of custom feature to our production line, I mean, Adam and most of the team has not been on a hunt without this, so it just made sense to actually integrate it into a production rifle. So just little tweaks. I mean, the things that we do in the backcountry, it's like we're always wanting better solutions, and this is a better solution than just adding an aftermarket one. So.
Yeah, the device that he sends that just kind of comes with the bipods, it's great. It works. But it's not sleek, and there's been one or two times where it like caught on my pack. Not a major deal, but it's like, man, it's just clean and streamlined and simple now. And with some of the adapters, you can use it across the board. I used it on the, I didn't shoot from this position, but I put it on the Peak 44 Teton tripod. Works great. I love that head. It's like real smooth. In the back position, it's not perfectly at the center of gravity because that's closer to the trigger guard, but it's a lot better than up front. And you could lock it to the point where you could basically let go, and it's gonna stay put.
We did a lot, especially during trade show season, just like for displays.
Mm-hmm.
And we were putting rifles where it was fully on the forend. It's as far forward, and that's kind of worst case. And the rifles stayed fine, and people were, getting behind the gun and acting like they were shooting kind of thing. But that's a good example of just being able to do both, where you can, have it more towards the center where it's going to be better balanced. And then even if you needed to have it extended, it's still going to work well.
Something you said about trade show season actually probably sparked one of the ideas of bringing this in line. I think we made Peak 44 made one for Rob as a sample.
It was,
and we're like, why don't we just we should just do this in line? So
thanks, Rob.
I remember you taking that. I think it was at Western Hunt or something like that.
Yeah, we shipped them the stock and
yeah.
So it might not be live. This is my ignorance. It might not be live on Peak 44 yet, but we're going to be offering this as an option.
We will. It'll be just because of production, so that we can make sure we keep up with this one. It'll be a little bit, but yes, is the short answer. We will have it. So
it's awesome. So this is kind of like the Backcountry Carbon, but the colorway is different. Obviously, same barrel, but 2 inches shorter in most cases, except for 6.5 300. So you still need all 26 inches to burn all that powder, and really go big or go home. If you want a slower, lighter 6.5 300, get a 6.5 RPM. Yeah, second fastest 6.5. So it is similar, but there's some unique features that make it different. That's also available in a titanium model, correct?
It is available in a titanium model. So what that titanium model does is allows you to cut off a whole another half a pound on our action weight. So
basically the ultimate cheap gun. That's what you're saying? Yeah.
Sheep gun, not cheap.
Just clarify. Yeah. No, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
No, titanium, carbon stock, carbon barrel, all the things. But it's basically a custom gun. It is. It's a custom gun that's a production price, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. I'm pumped for this thing. I loved having it in Alaska. Adam took it to New Zealand. He did an elk hunt with Remy in July.
In July, yeah.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah.
And the kind of the bear hunt. So after you shot your bear, then I was like, hey, can I start carrying your rifle? So I started carrying Luke's rifle, and that whole setup again was around, probably with the scope, it was under 7-ish, right around 7 pounds maybe. With
8. What scope was on?
You had a Mark 5 on it, a big.
No, it was an NX8.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Most likely an NX8.
Yeah, it was an NX8. But anyways, it was right around 8 pounds probably, maybe a little bit more. But like we weren't doing a lot of backpacking stuff, but like maneuvering and getting in and out of skiffs, it was like nice. You like didn't even know your rifle was on you.
Everything on coastal Alaska is slippery.
Yes. Yeah.
It's wild. Like you step out of the skiff, the little raft, and it's like Alaska wants you to fall down.
I actually have a permanent scar, I think, from Alaska because those rocks in my shins just didn't like each other very much.
It's a tough recipe because you feel hurried. You spotted a bear typically, and you're trying to get to it as fast as possible. Especially because this film is out. You can see it on Hush's YouTube channel, but the first couple stocks that we made were failed because we were too slow.
Yeah.
Like it's tough. You got to get there and get out. So the bear that I killed, we got out of the boat and like I was running up this very slippery, I don't even know what kind of rocks they were, Alaska rock coastal thing. And man, there's like kelp seaweed that is it? Yeah, it was just so slippery. But I like ran up there, get into a shooting position, could see the bear, and then I'm like, I was kind of waiting on Tyler and Kobe to get set up, and I was like, let's go, guys. But I had the, I don't even know if they're out yet from Spartan, but he's got these longer legs with a bendy head, because Alaska, everything's kind of tall.
I wanted the springbuck. Is it not? What
Yeah,
it's
but
called?
that is what it is. So I was in a kind of off my knees shooting position, but I felt super stable with those, and I was able to pivot. I got 3 shots off. They told us if the bear, like, just keep hitting it, because if the bear goes in the woods, whether it's a lethal shot or not, it's like 40% chance you'll find it, just because the woods are so thick.
Yeah.
And that same night, another guy on the hunt killed a bear. Watched the video 100 times. It looks like a lethal shot, but we never found him, and we spent a lot of time looking for it. So I got like shot first, which was a good shot. That's what killed it. Shot 2 more times, and I'm just waiting for Tyler to shoot over here, because we had made a plan, like, no matter what, back me up, because we don't want to go into the woods after a potentially wounded bear. But bears are tough, man. If you don't get them just like perfect to where it's like a nerve system lights out situation.
If you go back and watch the Hush video, it's actually really funny, because Luke like looks over at me. You can't quite see it. We'll give you some context to it.
Yeah.
It's like, where were you at?
I go, why didn't you shoot?
Well, I was just way too zoomed in. I'm like, and I was shooting prone, so like I didn't have that pivotability. So as soon as the bear was out of my sight picture, it's like I just hear Luke just running that 54-degree bolt throw, and just, and then he's like,
was nice.
Where were you? Which was pretty funny.
Yeah. So. I couldn't quite see impact, but I was able to stay on the bear and get 3 shots off, and he ended up being a sow, but she was, what would we say, 25 yards from the tree line?
Yeah, 25 yards.
I got 3 shots off. And she took off running right away. And I was like, I felt pretty good about that. Like, that says a little bit about the recoil and overall gun, but I like it a lot. I like it a lot. There's nothing not to like. It's a great gun. I love that. I just really like the Spartan stuff, and I love that we kind of partnered with them and doing this adapter system. It's pretty cool. Yeah. You got another thing over there, JD. Do you want to tell us about what that is?
This is one of the new things. This is the ARCA pick rail. So this will go on the fore end, so that if you have ARCA, so like for your tripod, you can set the gun onto that and use that as a shooting rest. For those on YouTube, you can see this photo of Adam. I think that was the elk hunt. But if you also have a Atlas, or a really nice bipod that's a pick type bipod, you can use that as well. So you can go back and forth from ARCA to pick, and you don't have to change out your system.
Yeah. So we're actually featuring that on that new Hush rifle, the Model 307. So it's meant for those. It's meant for like the Bastion or a dual swivel stud up front.
Yeah, the spacing is perfect for a Bastion stock or the Hush or Range XP. It'll come with screws for both. So if you have Range XP, Hush, or Meat Eater, then those 3 rifles you'd be able to.
Sorry, clarify. Screws for both. For people like me that aren't that smart.
Yeah. So for a synthetic stock like the Range XP, it's 1 set of screws, so that
the coarser thread screws.
Correct.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And the Bastion stock is threaded, so they're a different style of screw. So they'll both be in there. So just in case you have one or the other, but obviously you shouldn't need to go back and forth. So.
And that slot at the front kind of gives some adjustability. So there's a number of other stocks that could fit.
Oh, yeah. It'll still...
The list will be long, but there's kind of a min-max there between the two swivel studs.
Yeah, you have a couple inches of adjustability here in the fore end. So it's very lightweight. I don't remember exactly if it's a couple ounces. But it also has the swivel studs on the rear and on the front. So with ones that I've used before, if it's just in the rear, the gun wants to cant behind you.
Yeah.
With that weight.
Yeah.
So depending on your setup, you can use front or back.
That's awesome. And you could have a pick mounted bipod
And leave it.
and leave it on,
Yeah.
and then just clamp into a tripod too.
Yeah, that's what Casey was doing from Hush. He just left his bipod on and didn't mess with that. He had like one that wasn't like a quick detach, so it was like convenient to have both.
Yeah. Some people leave them on there, and it depends on the bipod. If you're running a standard sling, it'll want to kind of poke into your shoulder blade. But some of them, depending on the sling style, you can get it to run high enough.
Got it. What's the price?
$49.99.
Nice. What else do we need to talk about, Tyler?
Just kind of some future stuff. We're still doing, like, from a Peak 44 standpoint, tripods have been really popular the last month or two. So if you're looking for a new lightweight tripod for this fall, I'd recommend that Peak 44 Teton tripod. Those have been crushing. And then we have been getting a lot of questions on the J rail for Magnum action for Mark Vs. Those are going to come back in stock here in the next month or two.
Yeah, should be September.
Beginning of September. So
cool.
Those were kind of some housekeeping things on Peak 44. So
Tikka Bastion, that's the other one. We get a lot of requests for Tikka. We've had it in the Blacktooth for about a year now, but we'll have it in the Bastion here, hopefully by the time this airs.
Yeah. So check for that sometime in September, late September.
Nice.
So.
Man, there's been a lot going on. Was last week or 2 weeks ago was our film festival.
Yeah, it was two weeks ago already. So.
2 weeks from recording this podcast. So if you were able to make it, you know how fun of an event that was. JD, you missed out this year. You had family
Totally
vacation.
Yeah.
And you did mess up because the last year your family cleaned house on the raffles.
My kids cleaned house. They did. I get a lot of flack about this, about all the stuff, I'm doing air quotes, that I won. Both my kids won rifles. And the story about it is actually my favorite part, because your ticket to get in, was your entry. And our daughter, Hadley, she's itty bitty and she's holding her ticket. And Luke is the one calling the numbers.
I was the MC. Yeah.
And he calls the number, and he knows Hadley. So he's like, "Oh, Hadley," and she's itty bitty and cute. So she runs up there, and Luke's like, "Why don't you draw the next one?" And she drew Rockies, which
was a totally separate paid
raffle.
raffle.
That was something we paid for to enter. It was a Mule Deer Foundation, and it was like a bullet pull game. But I'm positive if it hadn't been the kids, we'd have been booed out of the theater. But because it was the kids, everybody begrudgingly clapped and pretended to be happy.
Cleaned up. Yeah. There's a couple families that, I don't know. It's funny how, I don't know how the raffle thing, there's mojo around, I don't know. But there's a couple families that did pretty well.
Yeah, from when you're looking out of the stage, there was this section, we called it the back right section. They were winning everything.
Yes, they were.
My kids have a false sense of how raffles work. They think that a raffle means that their name gets called.
They just win. Yeah, that's not how they work. They are random. But we had an incredible turnout to the film festival. The WYO Theater seats 460, and I think we had, what was file number 430?
We had 430, and it was a Wednesday night. So thank you to everyone who came.
It was super fun. We've already been discussing next year's event, how to do it better, maybe not necessarily bigger, because
can't go much bigger.
Can't go much bigger. A little breathing room is nice, but it was a cool event. I think how to make it more fun and more exciting. And we've already got some cool things in the works.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't even told you. Ask me later, but I had somebody that wants to put a film in.
I've gotten a bunch of requests too, so I have 3 requests already as well.
Okay.
So we'll see how that works.
It's pretty exciting.
It is exciting. And then the other little kind of to put a bow on it is we were raising a lot of money for conservation. So we had Wyoming Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, we had Muley Fanatics, Mule Deer Foundation of Wyoming, and Ducks Unlimited all there. And their combined total, they made around $30,000 in one night.
That's so cool. Based
on all their raffles, and then we donated guns to them for a few of those. And so pretty cool to see where your dollars are going to go. It's going to go to, stay in Wyoming on a majority of those funds. So
we have so many conservation partners for Weatherby, and it's a big core of our DNA. And I joked about it at the film festival, but we don't talk about this enough, that we pay a federal excise tax on every gun that we ship out of here. Basically, it's round numbers, 10%. It's 11% of every gun that we ship and box of ammo. We're paying the federal government, and that pool of money is to be used for state agencies and federal programs for gun safety, hunter access, which hunter access is not just hunter access, it's public land access.
Yeah.
So through firearms and ammo, the Pittman-Robertson Act has conserved, opened, and kept open so much land and access that benefits so many people. And I love that we can go above and beyond that. That's a tax. It's coming out no matter what. It's kind of the bare minimum. But as an industry, it was back in, 68, 58. I'm embarrassed I'm going to get the date wrong. But
I think it was in the 40s, right after World War II.
Yeah. But, as an industry, guns and archery kind of band together. And like I said, hey, we need to conserve the future of our sport, our industry. And so they voluntarily lobbied, put a tax in place, and all that goes to good use. So the NGOs like Mule Deer Foundation and the state agencies, they can tap into that money. Some of it's matched, some of it's a grant, but through stuff like this film festival, when we raise extra money, it allows them to tap even more of that money. So it's a force multiplier, and it's just cool.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. The Pittman-Robertson Act, or that tax is baseline, and then the rest is extra. So we pretty much work with every major organization on the conservation side too, with additional donations and guns and all the things. So that's one of my favorite parts of working at Weatherby.
Yeah, it's really fun. All right, last call. You got anything, Tyler?
No, I think we hit everything on it. So,
man, Backcountry guide. I'm pumped.
You'll be able to get those with the guide on the website.
Oh yeah, good call. We will. So you can get Spartan in many different spots, but if you want to get it from Weatherby.com, we will have 2 of the bipods and some adapters and all the things you need. So,
yeah, ready to go on Weatherby.com. JD, any parting thoughts?
Go to peak44.com too.
Yeah.
How do you? What is that?
You got to spell it out. Peak, Peak, FORTYFOUR.
Man, are you one of those people that starts to type out 44 and then you go FOURTY?
Farty4.
I do that a lot.
If you just type in Teton tripod, it pops
right up
in the Google machine. So
that tripod's pretty sweet.
It's one of my favorites.
It's so light.
It's so awesome, man. And it's, if you forget your trekking poles and stuff, there's a lot of fail safes in it. Usually when you have things that are good at a lot of things, you have to compromise. But I feel like on this one, with like that fluid head and then the ball head capability, you're not compromising. So that's what I like about it.
I was just listening to a guy talk about the tripod that he's using and the limitations of a tripod, that if you're on a hill, you don't really have a way to get level. And I was like, man. Do we have the solution?
Yo, bro.
So usually it's like, when you get, there's sometimes it's like when it can do everything, it's like it's almost gimmicky, but it's like there's not a lot of compromise on the tripod that we have. So
there's none.
You heard it here.
Compromise. Hey, thanks for listening. Check out the Backcountry guide on Weatherby.com, and we'll catch you next time.